So I'm going to give you, I think you have your tools. Okay, I just gave you permission to use your tools. So go ahead and use your pen tool on here and write out your problem. So that's going to be, let me find it again, 5x over negative 6. And then equals negative 40 over 3. Okay. Hey, Zach. Zach, click on the link in the chat box for me. I can put it in there again for you. And while me and Trisha are doing this, you be filling in your grades on that second slide. Okay. All right, Trisha, do you know how to solve these types of problems, like what to do first? You can turn your mic on. It might be easier instead of us typing back and forth.
Can we get rid of the equal sign?
No, anytime you have a proportional relationship like this, all you're going to do is cross multiply. So this will multiply by that. This will multiply by that. So do you have a calculator with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's do this one first. 5x times 3. So that's just 5 times 3.
15.
Okay, so on this side, you would write 15, and then you just keep that x. Then you keep your equal sign, and now you're multiplying negative 40 times negative 6. A negative times a negative is a positive. So really, it's just 40 times 6.
240.
Okay, so that goes on this side. Now, what you want to do is get this x by itself, right? Because that's what you're trying to solve for. Let me make sure that's what the question said. Yes, solve for x. So when you have a number like this that is stuck right next to the x, like this 15, Trisha, you've got to get rid of that 15 so that the x can be by itself. And to do that, you have to divide. So you have to divide both sides. Anything you do on one side, you have to do on the other. So you have to divide both sides by 15. And this side will cancel out, right? 15 divided by 15, that just cancels out. Okay. So really what you're needing to do is 240 divided by 15. $16. All right. So down here, you would write 16, copy down your equal sign, and bring down your x. And that would be your answer. So then let's go to number 2. And tell me what ratio you see first. Or actually, here, we can go ahead. You can write it on the board. Okay, 2 over 7 equals negative 5 over x plus 3, I think is what you have. And let me get my paper out so I can make sure I'm telling you right. So with those same steps, Trisha, remember what we did last time? Cross multiply. So go ahead. I like to use red just so you can differentiate between your arrows, and draw your cross. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, so you're going to do the same thing here. This one is slightly different because it's x plus 3, but that's okay. So let me do... making sure I'm telling you right. Okay, let me check that. Yes, okay, perfect. All right, so hey Ty. Ty, we are doing quiz 1.9 together. So if that's one that you made bad on, you might want to retake it with us. We're just on number 2. Okay, so Trisha, let's go through this. We'll do this one first since that's pretty straightforward. What is 7 or negative 5 times 7? Yeah, instead of writing it in the chat box, go ahead and write it right here under your problem. So negative 35, and then copy down your equal sign. Okay, and then for this one, you have 2 times x plus 3. So you have to multiply 2 by both of these things. So 2 times x would be 2x. So go ahead and write that. And then keep your plus sign. And then what is 2 times 3? That's what you would write right here. All right, so the goal is the same. Remember, we want to get this x by itself, so we've got to start moving stuff over there. And to do that, you do the opposite of what is being done on this side. So right now, this 6 is being added, okay? To undo that, we subtract. So you're going to subtract 6 on both sides for me. Very good. And then on this side, you can just put an X through those 6s because they cancel each other out. Oh, not through the 2X, just through the 6. Let's just put it through there. There we go. And then a negative minus a negative is going to give us a negative. So remember, when you're subtracting a negative, you can use keep, change, and keep negative 35, change to a plus, change to a negative. So now you have negative 35 plus negative 6. What would that give you? And you're going to write that right here. Very good. And then bring your equal sign down. And then what have you not used on this side of your equation? You're going to bring that down as well. Very good, 2x. Okay, so last part. The last thing we've got to do is get this 2 off of the x, right? Right now it's being multiplied by x because it's stuck right next to it. So we do the opposite, which is division. So we need to divide both sides by 2. Good. Very good. And then, so now type in negative 41 divided by 2. And write that answer right down here. Good. What is a negative divided by a positive? It's going to be a negative, so make sure you put a negative sign right there. Okay, then bring your equal sign down, and you can cross through those 2's because those canceled each other out. And then bring your x down. Okay, you can circle that whole thing. That would be your answer. So looking back at your answers, ooh, excuse me, are not in decimal form. They're in fraction form, right? So negative 20 is fine, but then 0.5 is the same thing as saying what for a fraction? What is 0.5 as a fraction? Look at your answer choices. There's only one fraction on there. A half, yeah. And so think of it this way, Trisha, when you're counting, like if you have a number line and it's broken down 20.1, 20.2, 20.3, 20.4, all the way up to 20.9. Well, when you hit 20.10, that's really the same thing as 21, right? There's no 20.10. So 0.5 is in the middle of that. So you can think of that as halfway. So if it asks you for a fraction instead, anytime you see 0.5, that's a half. You can also think of it as money. When you have 50 cents, you have half of a dollar. Okay, so 0.5, that's always going to be a half. All right, so select that answer. Let's go to number 3. We should have time. We might have to hurry though. And then I'll clear the page. Go ahead and write your number 3 problem on there. Okay, let's see. Oh, here, draw your fraction line right there. Okay, so let me see here. For the sake of keeping the board clean, I'm going to rewrite this just so it's easier for you to see. Nothing wrong with your handwriting. I just want you to be able to clearly see it. So you had 1/5 over 2/3. Was that right? Is that what you had? Okay. And then you had equals 1/4 over m. Okay, so same thing, Patricia. Remember, what's the first step? We want to do what? Cross what? Cross multiply. Good. So here I'm going to draw the arrows a little thicker. So that times that, that times that. Now, with fractions, it is a little bit different. It's a little tricky. Okay, when you're multiplying and dividing fractions, you've got to remember all of those rules. So the easiest one for us is going to be right here, 1/5 times m, right? You just stick them together. So that would be 1/5 m, like that. Copy your equal sign down. Now, for 1/4 times 2/3, we're going to have to work that out. So I'm going to write it over here in blue. So 1/4 times 2/3, and then you solve straight across. So what is 1 times 2? What's 1 times 2? 2. Good. Oh, I didn't see you. I was looking at the chat box. 2. And then 4 times 3 is what on the bottom? 12. Very good. Now, can that fraction be simplified? Can the top and the bottom be divided by the same number? Yeah, we can divide it by 2, right? So what is on the top? 2 divided by 2 is what? So go ahead and write that in. And then on the bottom, 12 divided by 2 is what? So basically, you're asking what is half of 12? Very good, 1/6. So now we want to plug that fraction in on this side where we originally wanted to multiply, okay? So I'm going to write it over here for you, 1/6. Now, we had the same type of problem we had before. We still want to get this m by itself, right? And currently, since it's right next to this 1/5, they're being multiplied. To undo multiplication, you divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 1/5 to get rid of the 1/5. Okay, it'll look something like that. Now, we're going to rewrite that over here. 1/6 divided by 1/5. Now, do we divide fractions? No, let's multiply them. Remember, we can multiply them using the reciprocal. So keep, change, flip, remember? So keep 1/6, change to multiplication, and flip the last fraction. So now we have an easy multiplication problem. Okay, use your tools and solve that for me. 1 times 5 on the top, 6 times 1 on the bottom. Very good. Very good. All right, so now we've done this part, 1/6 divided by 1/5. So let's write our answer down here. So 5/6. Copy down your equal sign, and we can cross out these 1/5 and bring that m down. Okay, so there is your final answer, 5/6. All right, let's see, how much time do we have? "15 minutes. We should be able to fit the last two in. Okay, go ahead and go to number 4 and write out your problem here. I'll clear the page. My brain started to hurt on that problem. All right, there we go. All right, write out what you have for number 4. This one is going to be with decimals, I believe. Which I like decimals better than fractions, so personally. Okay, let's see. P minus 4.6 over 5.7 equals 6.1 over 2. Okay, use a different color for me, Patricia, and show me that first step. Cross multiply and draw those arrows for me. Mm-hmm. Very good. Okay. So this one's going to be the easiest first right here. You just have two numbers. So use your calculator, type in 6.1 times 5.7 and put the answer to that right here. All right, copy down that equal sign. And then now we're doing 2 times P minus 4.6. So this 2 right here, Patricia, look at the board. This 2 has got to be multiplied by the P and the 4.6. So 2 times P is just what? You can write that right there. 2P, good. Then copy down your minus sign. Oh, don't forget the P. It's got to be 2P. There we go. And then type in 2 times 4.6. Here, let me move this over a little bit. Okay. What is 2 times 4.6? That's what you're going to write right here. What does that say? Type that in again. 2 times 4.6. Good. 9.2. Okay, so now again, the goal is to get the variable by itself. So we'll start with this number since it don't have any variables attached to it. Right now it's being subtracted. So 9.2 is being subtracted. To get rid of it, we have to do the opposite, which is add. So add 9.2 to this side. Let's move it over there. Good. And then put the answer to that down here. Good. And then copy down what you haven't used. So your equal sign, and then what else have you not used on that side of the equation? Very good. Okay, so last part. Now, the P is still stuck to this 2, right? How can we get rid of this 2? Right now it's being multiplied. What's the opposite of multiplication? Very good. Yes, we're going to do that on both sides. Divide by 2 on both sides. And then write your answer down there at the bottom. And I think they rounded. Let me see. Oh, no, they didn't. They just wrote the whole answer. So 43.97 divided by 2 is what? Copy down the equal sign and your variable. And then you can circle that. That'll be your answer. Your variable is always a letter. You use the 2. Crazy pants. There we go. Circle that. That's your answer. Very good. You did that one mostly by yourself. Okay, and so let's look at number 5. Let me clear the board for you. All right, go ahead and write your number 5. Last one. I don't know about y'all, but I am starving. Okay, 7.5x over 11 equals, whoa, 4 point what? What is that? 4.8, okay, over 5. All right, good deal. I'm going to let you take this one and I'll help you as needed. Perfect. You got it the first step. Okay, so start multiplying those for me. I'm going to scream if you can do this one by yourself. Don't forget what's behind that 7.5. Good. Okay, keep going. Very good, 52.8. Okay, so now look at that variable. How can you get that variable by itself? What have we done on all the other problems to get it by itself? Yes! Divide. Divide by what is stuck to that x. Remember, you're trying to get everything away from the x. Are you stuck? Okay, so our goal is to get the x by itself, right? So right now, what is stuck to the x? What's on the same side as the x? What's in front of that 7? That's 37.5. But yes, you're right. That's what we need to divide on both sides by. 37.5. Add a little 3 right here. Okay, so and on this side, 37.5. Good. And so back over here on the left, remember those are going to cancel each other out, and you're just going to be left with x. So you can go ahead and write your x down here, write your equal sign, and then solve that for me. 52.8 divided by 37.5. You should get a decimal. Yes! You got